to Model Kit Stuff. My name's Jason and we're carrying on with our build of the Werk U9 First World War U-boat. Now in the last video we got to a point where we'd primed the main hull and we'd put the dark paint down on the deck areas. And then I'd started the process of masking off, and I thought, right, let me just see if I can check exactly how this is configured, this grey deck, particularly at the front here, which I've got going to a point at the moment. It's been very difficult to prove whether that goes to a point or whether it just sort of came to a natural halt, which I suspect is more likely. But in that process, I've ended up coming across a couple of things that I now am agonising over whether I want to make further modifications or not. So the first thing that I'm considering is handrails. Now, from photographs that I've seen, it appears that there were collapsible handrails on the boat. So what appears to have happened is there was stanchions that you could put in place, and you could have them in different lengths and configurations, and then it's either some chain or some rope or something that goes through them. And I've seen photos in two different configurations, so clearly there was some form of way of fastening it down to the deck and putting the stanchions in and having railings as long as you want. So I have seen railings that were about this long, and I have seen railings that pretty much went the full length. So that's something I might do. Not 100% sure at this point. So I'm still thinking about that. The bigger issue has actually come in the form of the bow. So I was looking online at some photographs, and then I realised from looking at a couple of photographs that this big ring at the front is incorrect in shape. So Werks have modelled it as like a D-ring, if you like. It should be triangular. So I can replace that. I can form a little bit of wire to get the correct shape. So my first thought was, let's do that. And then I thought, well, I'll flick through the book and see if there's anything more on that. And I hadn't really paid much attention to the book, to be honest, because it doesn't have, it's got lots of history and there's lots of stuff in it, but there's nothing much to aid you in further building the model. And then I came across page 40. So this is page 40, and the bow looks different. If you look at the shape of the deck, it comes to a point, and that looks quite thin, and that doesn't come to a point, and that doesn't look thin, although it does look in keeping for the period. Now, I know that Nigel on his build has said that he's going to just round this off so it looks a little bit more in keeping. That's his view. I think that's a good solution, actually. Then if we look at page 39, there's a couple of pictures of 10 and 11. Now I believe all four submarines in the class were identical, and it just looks a lot thinner, and I've been agonising over whether I want to change the shape. The problem with changing the shape is the detail of the rivets. I don't want to lose the detail of the rivets. But I'm going to cut this off anyway and form a new one. That's a decision that's been made. So I could potentially follow the shape of the hull and put a sharper bow in but I'm not 100% sure that I want to do it. So I need to think about that. So anyway, putting that to one side, what else have we done? I built up the conning tower. The fit of this is pretty much very good, except for I had a little bit of an issue with this deck piece here, which sat proud, and I had to thin off the inside lip to make it sit flat, because otherwise this was sitting a bit high. So I've managed to get it down so that I've got no gap. It was causing a little bit of a triangular gap there, so the fit of that you need to be careful of. However, it's not a big issue to get rid of. I have painted inside, you can see, as per the instructions. So we paint it white and black. I think I can show you here. Yeah. So we paint it white and black. I've not done any modifications other than filling the ejector pin mark, which you saw in the last video. The fit of these two parts it is okay, but you have to be a little bit careful because you've only got location lugs at the wide end and it's just a butt joint at this end, and then these two strips go above it. Now if you look down on it, you can see there's some gaps at each end. You don't need to worry about those, because when we come to put the framework above on here, that'll all get covered. Now if you've not seen Nigel's build, go and have a look at it, because he's done some work to put a cast texture on this part here, which is a really lovely idea. Looking at the shape, it's clearly a cast item that's then been riveted in. So I think that I'm not going to do that, but I think that's a really nice idea. I'm not going to do that because I hadn't thought of it, and by the time I saw Nigel do it, I'd already glued my piece on. So anyway, there's a little bit of cleanup need to be done on the side here, just because it's not quite even. It's even, I've got it as even as I can on one side, and I've got a tiny gap, but there's a little bit of a lip here. It's nothing major. The next thing I wanted to think about was these viewing ports, whether they're glazed or not, but I don't think this is pressurised. Though the footholes are holes, so there's water flooding in there, so I think these are just open, so I'm going to leave them open. Also wondering whether I need to put a little bit of white paint in here, just because when you look down you can see the bottom of that, so I might just paint that white as well, just for completeness. But otherwise that is done, and what will happen is this part, which has been painted, fits in here and gives you the smallest amount of interior detail. So, and then that goes over the top like so, is basically what happens. I've not checked the fit of that yet, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Most of the kit has gone together really well, and then that sort of sits on top like that. Now I'm going to have this hatch open. I'm not going to have the other hatches open because I don't want shafts of light going in, which you'll be able to see through the side and potentially through the torpedo tubes that I've left open. This one, because we've got a solid deck, I've decided that what I might do is just blank that off, so there's no light coming through, and leave that open, just for a little bit of variety. So that's that bit done. We are in the process of removing and cleaning up other parts ahead of painting. So these are all parts that will be painted separately. We've got the bow planes here, which I'm cleaning up and trying to keep on the sprue so that I can paint them a little bit more easily. There's two different frame options for top of the conning tower. You've got this one, and what happens, make sure I get it the right way around, is it sits on the top of this like so. So you can have that just the framework so you can see through, or you can have this one which has got like the tarpaulin cover on it. I'm going to go with the tarpaulin cover because it's going to add a variation of colour to it. Now the instructions actually say if you don't glue it on you can interchange them at any time, which is a nice idea, but I probably will just stick with this one. I've made the other one up just so you can get an idea. Now this does have some ejector pin marks in it, and what I did yesterday was I just filled those with some Mr. Surfacer. About 3 lots of Mr. Surfacer have gone into that now, so they need cleaning up. What else? I think, oh yeah, one thing that I need to point out is in the last video I made the exhaust and air intake stacks, and it was pointed out to me by one of the viewers that I'd painted them incorrectly, and he's absolutely right, I had. So what had happened is I'd seen some reference material, I'd seen that one was dark and one was light, and in between moving away from the video and painting it, I got mixed up in my mind and painted the wrong one. So it's not a biggie. We'll paint that dark, and then we're going to hand paint that one in the lighter colour anyway. So yes, thank you for that. As it turned out, that person hadn't noticed that there were 2 different colours, so he was quite grateful for me pointing out, even though I got it mixed up. So yeah, we've got that to sort as well. The other thing that we need to be thinking about now is the rigging. So there's no rigging points on the deck. So when the exhaust is up, for example, there is support rigging that needs to go up. So we're going to have to think about some eye bolts or something for that. So I need to be thinking about that. Also, there are turnbuckles supplied in the kit for the bow planes here, but they don't provide anything to actually rig it up with, and they connect to these points here. And I've been thinking about it, and excuse me, Easy Line is not going to work. It's possible that you might be able to make it work with wire, probably steel wire rather than copper wire, so you've got something a bit more rigid. I might look at doing this with stretch sprue, which means that I can then just glue that straight on, but that's another area we need to be thinking about. So yeah, I've had a look at a couple of builds that are going on. Pretty much everyone's building it straight from the box. I'm not into super detailing this because for me the fun of this is going to be around the weathering more than anything, but I am going to want to make 1 or 2 alterations just to add some interest, just basic stuff that clearly makes a difference. So that's why I'm wondering whether I'm going to do the handrails or not. In terms of masking, just something that's probably worth mentioning. If you've not used Tamiya's sort of curvy tape before, it is quite handy. You can see here where there's a curve in the deck. It's allowed me to mask that very simply and straightforwardly. I bought some out of interest, and this is the only roll I've got, and it has been handy for this, although keeping it straight can be a real challenge. However, I won't buy it again. If you're looking for something like this that will go around curves, then find yourself a product called Trimline. In fact, I will go and show you some, just bear with me. So Trimline, as you can see, comes in multiple different colours, and basically you get a roll of the stuff, and it has different thicknesses in it. and it's effectively the same thing really. It's thinner than Tamiya tape, and it's used a lot by radio control boat builders. I've used it a lot for things like stripes down cars and pinstripes and that type of thing. So I was lucky enough to do for a forum I was supporting a few years ago, the Aurora Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is an extremely rare kit. I think it was £500 the kit. It was passed to me just to build it, and I used the red trim line on the fenders there, and it worked really well because it's so thin. But basically, this will do the same job pretty much as that Tamiya curvy tape stuff will. But you get a lot more for your money, and like I say, you can get lots of different colours. So I use this quite a bit for fine masking. So yeah, it's worth digging it out. You'll find it online easy enough. So yeah, that's where we're up to. So I'm going to carry on cleaning up some parts and getting us ready for paint, and I think that's probably it for this video. Once I've got some parts cleaned up and I've made some decisions on what I'm going to do, then I'll come back to you and show you how we go about doing that. Okay, thanks for looking in. Sorry this is a quick update. I'm having some issues with my IT at the moment and struggling to pull together bigger videos, so I have ordered a new computer which will give me a lot better capacity, but due to COVID they're saying 3 to 4 weeks to get it delivered. So in the meantime, probably the videos you see from me will be a little bit shorter. Anyway, I will see you all soon. Take care everybody, and thanks for looking in.